It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Bunny Rabbit, named after Yoshimi Yojimbo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because it looks like the headband wearing rabbit ninja. It's also quite skilled in its capacity to carve a spoon. I do my best, as my father taught me.
He's carving an outside spoon.
To let the wood
Well, maybe not.
and the tools do the work. I let the hatchet fall where it may. I begin by roughing out the tip of the bowl, which may or may not be how my father taught me. It's been a long time since I got a lesson. I've sort of let it go for a couple years to have children and a life, and I've recently got back into the art. I feel a creative outlet is imperative to my capacity to thrive and shine. From here, I'll take it up the handle of the spoon. I should have a glove on, but everyone knows blood makes for good television. And the next step in my process is the spoke shave. I use a glove to protect the dorsal surface of the wood, which I like to be the outside of the spoon to have the natural grain of the wood. It doesn't require any sanding or any finishing. And I'll use the spoke shave to shape the bowl. Spoke shave, I believe my dad, they're mostly antique. My dad procures them from flea markets and antique shops. He has a whole quiver of them that you can use for different stages in the production. And this one is relatively large and moves enough wood for the first round of the back of the bowl. Once I have the back of the bowl shaped, I will use a plumper to plump out the actual bowl. I start from the nose. Attempting good body mechanics so I don't round my shoulders too much or create too much tension. So I've created the general shape of the bowl that I want with the plumper. And then I'll use a bent knife. My favorite bent knife is for a lefty. My father's left-handed, so I have to adopt this technique to use the left-handed curve of the bent knife to work the rest of the bowl. I'm careful not to go too deep to make it too thin, because a lot of wood will get moved in the finishing process as well. This is obviously a personal eating spoon. Will be good for everyday use. Wonderful thing about wooden spoons is they don't take on the temperature of your food. So if you're eating a hot bowl of soup, your spoon doesn't get hot, or if you're eating a cold bowl of ice cream, your spoon doesn't get cold. I might do a little more hatchet work. You'll notice the expression, the knot hole is a little off-centered, so it's going to have a little bit of a unique curve to the handle, but it's got a nice right-handed bend to it, which will be exaggerated. Move a little more wood with the hatchet, I think. This is questionable, but effective. Because one wrong strike and you've blown it. But you don't want the bowl to be too thick, but we do still have a lot of wood to move. Fat back here, which is kind of ugly. It'll throw off the weight and the flow of the spoon a little bit, so I'm going to keep at it, but we don't want the handle to get too thin. So you got to find that sweet spot, that perennial balance between too much and too little. And then I'll get one of my father's wonderfully peculiarly shaped and extremely sharp knives. So this one hasn't been sharpened in a while.
Oh, sorry.
He's a master of the sharpening tools, and some of these get neglected.
Well, you're the master of dulling them.
I am the master of dulling them. I'm going to give the end of the handle a little bit of attention with the hatchet. Bring it home. You don't want too much weight back there because it'll make your spoon fall out of your cereal if you leave it in the bowl. If the handle's too fat, get super cereal all over the place. Learn that the hard way. I'll use a smaller knife for the details back here. I'll give this a little more love. Of course, you don't want it pointy. That will get love in the finishing process. like there to be a hole in my handle, and this is not my dad's style, but I find there's a lot of old dead wood in the knot holes that if you can get out of there, you get a nice graceful expression. You don't want to hit the dorsal surface. It's rare that I'll dig it in from this side, but this spoon is calling for it to get through. I'll find my spot on the other side, and then I'll work it on that side. Give that knot hole some grace. Find its grace. I like there to be a hole in the handle. It also decreases the weight of the handle, so it's less likely to do a somersault out of your bowl of cereal. I also feel that it is indicative of my personal signature. My father finds the knot holes. He lets them be natural. You wouldn't find him digging out the back of one.
I've done it once or twice.
He's played with it, but he's a purist.
I just felt guilty afterwards.
But my generation, you know, we're a little more audacious. We don't have that 50s guilt.
It's an interesting question. My thought has always been that the younger generation always needs to be more pure than the older generation. What you're saying seems to belie that.
Well, I don't know. You're a child of the 60s. You should know better.
Well, no one was purer than the child of the 60s.
Not according to the adults of the 50s. So I might leave it there, and we've got a nice hole you can see right through. So you can hang it up if you want to. It's not a big one, but it's there. And I'll finish it up maybe with a little bit more action from the spoke shave, although this will do. It'll get taken care of in the finishing process. It's a little fat back here, but that's easy to take care of. And you'll notice that the entire dorsal surface of the spoon is exposed. So the whole front, none of this will need any finishing except the bowl.
That's what I call a perfect spoon. That is to say, it's absolutely perfect in nature. If you have not touched the dorsal surface, even around the bowl, then you have a fairly rare animal that I call a perfect spoon. Perfect meaning thoroughly made in nature or by nature. So your purity points are going up.
It'll take, the grace will increase quite a bit in the finishing process, but you can see it's a quite effective tool.
It's lovely as it is.
And we'll put it in the 2 fire bin.